Okay, so we switched across there and did a little bit of Archie Roach, A Child Was Born Here, and ahead of that we played the last track there from Pacey, No Expectations. Ash, do you want to talk a little about the milestones for the Bunaan leading up to the 2025 event?
Sure. So the Yuin Nation Birriga Bunaan was first created in 2019 since its inception by Uncle Warren Foster. In 2019, nearly 2,000 people from Yuin Nation travelled as far as Sydney to Victoria to take part of the special gathering at the foothills of Mother Gulaga. And it featured nearly 150 Yuin dancers on country. They all came together at the foothill of Mother Gulaga for the Bunaan, joining forces with other Indigenous communities across Australia to dance on country at the same time, at the same day, in a healing ceremony. It featured Yuin people, families and elders. It was the first huge Bunaan that had ever been seen in over 150 years. There was no funding involved, and it was completely grassroots, driven by Yuin people. Then in 2024, this year, January, we hosted another Yuin Nation Birriga Bunaan. Nearly 3,500 Yuin and other Aboriginal tribes and non-Indigenous people came together to proudly share culture and heal together. It featured 750 Yuin people dancing on country and other tribes from across Australia. It was the largest corroboree seen on Yuin Nation since 2019. It was grassroots driven by Yuin people, and funding was received from Fire to Flourish and Growing Arts and the goodwill of Yuin people in the non-Indigenous community. Next year, in 2025, is the next Yuin Nation Birriga Bunaan. You can find all the details on our Facebook page. It has been sponsored by the New South Wales Government, the Minister of Aboriginal Affairs and Treaty, and the New South Wales Aboriginal Land Council, Aboriginal Land Councils. If you also are a business owner or a organisation, a manager in an organisation, CEO, and you would like to also become a sponsor of next year's Yuin Nation Birriga Bunaan, please contact us through our Facebook page or me directly, Ash Mac, on Facebook.
Fantastic. Okay, so anything else to add to that, or should we go across to some more music?
Well, I would just like to say that the Bunaan is the most beautiful experience, and something that growing up in this area we actually hadn't had, and it wasn't open, I suppose, in a sense, to the other community. So non-Aboriginal community now, it's actually something that is so inclusive and a beautiful experience. So please become a part of it. Thank you.
I have to agree there hugely with you, Jodie, because this year in January I had a beautiful non-Indigenous lady who was about 80 years old, and she came up to me and she just said, I've grown up in Bega my whole life and I knew nothing about the Aboriginal culture, and it was very it opened her heart to want to know more about our culture, and why we were so connected to Mother, and why do we come out and do these corroborees. And she just felt so blessed to actually be able to experience something like that before her passing. And she is bringing her grandchildren to the next one, which means we're breaking down barriers between the Aboriginal and non-Indigenous,
generational, so
community.
The exposure. So this is the other thing, I've noticed myself at events, or let's just call them gigs, that that Dust and Echoes have performed at over the years. Certain venues, in one sense, I'm not saying people weren't welcome, but it was not a place that people would feel comfortable going to. And I've realised that over the years now, I look out into the audience and I swear it makes me so proud, and I just feel so overwhelmed with love that, there are all different types of people. And when I say that, I mean there are Aboriginal families that come and see us and they are comfortable there. And, that's really important. You might think that, how can it be that way? Well, it is. It is that way. And this is why we are trying to hold events where everyone's coming, because we need people to know that we are actually so full of love and
unity.
And unity. And that's the word.
And healing.
Yeah. And, as an observer, obviously listeners can tell from my accent I'm not from around these parts. Moving into the
it's a little
understatement,
a little bit obvious.
Moving
Love
into the Bega Valley, Dinah and I were always keen to understand, the cultural, historical facts about what the journey that this country has been on, particularly over the last 200 or 300 years, and. What we observed was this difficulty that people have. You've obviously got people across a spectrum from full-blown allies to Indigenous people, through to the other end of this spectrum, the nasty end, and
it's the unaware end.
Yeah,
is that we like to sort of say.
And it's the unaware, and I think there's plenty of people out there who don't know how to reach out to people from a different culture, whatever, regardless of what the culture is. Yeah. And one of the things that really moved me was, we went along to the 2019 Bunaan, and I think we had become aware of Ash. We had become aware of Ash, and we had become aware of Uncle Warren and young Warren. And we sort of saw that these were leading figures in the community. So I think we sort of sought you out a little bit as well, Ash. And I think we gave you some peacock feathers or something around about that time, because you put a call out for some materials for the women's outfits. But the whole event was an invitation to not just Indigenous people to come from afar and take part in the Bunaan. It was an open invitation, open arms from the Indigenous community to non-Indigenous people to rock up and to not sample, but understand the significance of the cultural identity, the historical connection to land, to country, and it was a beautiful thing. And Ash, you ran a session where you were telling the story of Mother Gulaga, and you invited us all to basically beat the ground for Mother's heartbeat. Yeah. And I remember, you're telling about the pain, the historical pain that mothers sort of looked after community, and I felt waves of that pain. So I was emotionally really overcome then. I'm emotional now just thinking about it. And so from a cultural perspective, I've just been amazed with the open arms that are extended to come and talk, come and have conversation. There's no reconciliation without without discussion, without truth telling, without understanding where we've all come from, the journey we've all been through, and working out what the hell the journey moving forward looks like. It's a tough one, and there's no magic wand, there's no quick fix, there's no real answer, but we've got to do it together, otherwise we just remain divided.
Absolutely.
And I think that's I just wanted to touch on that point, is that one of the most beautiful things about our culture is that we are constantly told by our elders that we bleed the same blood. Yeah. And I believe that these Bunaans, having everyone from all different cultures, races, colours, all coming together and realising we are one human spirit and we're all connected to this land. And if we come together, we can heal together and we can change what the future looks like in Australia as one big mob.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's actually exactly what I was taught. That's what I'm trying to teach. And yeah, thanks, Ash and Dean.
Thank you. So let's play some more music while we regain our composure, eh? So Jessica Moore by Little Things. You chose this one, didn't you, Jodie?
I did, and yeah, now I'll try not to cry. So Little Things by Jess Malboy, most beautiful woman, most beautiful, beautiful sister. Obviously, you know, such an amazing voice. But this song, you know, this is, I sort of stand with Aboriginal women when I listen to this song because, you know, anyway, the words will explain here. But it's a sister song, I suppose.